also on Big Ten Network. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach, then go into questions. If you have a question, raise your hand, get my attention. Coach?
Would like to just start off by congratulating Tracy Fuchs and women's field hockey off to the Final Four. Was fortunate enough to stop down for the second half with my wife and boys yesterday, and man, it was awesome to see the way that team continued to battle and got a big win late. Exciting weekend for all Northwestern athletics. So, but again, congratulations to Tracy and her team. Really excited for what's ahead for them. In terms of this team, going to sound a little bit like a broken record, but it was great having the guys back in the facility. Had a chance to meet this morning, and evaluate our performance at Wisconsin. Really proud of the way that we went into a hostile environment and attacked. The way that our offense performed, specifically in the first quarter and the first half was critical to our team's success. Keeping our defense off the field against a tempo operation, tempo offense, playing complementary football, and then our ability to close in the second half as a team, specifically in the fourth quarter, starting to flip the field and create some field position was huge. But still things that we need to improve upon. Again, this team has taken it very seriously about finding a way to improve just a little bit each and every day. Challenged them to do that today when they come back in the facility and we shift our focus fully to Purdue. We'll have an opportunity to get back out on the field, this afternoon, this evening, and start that preparation. But Purdue is hot right now, coming off a big win against Minnesota offensively. Operating at a really high level, defensively well coached, some really good personnel. We're gonna have our hands full this Saturday. Excited for the challenge that's ahead.
Coach, seems like the entire roster tweeted out after the game that and you should remove your interim tag. Did you see any of those posts, and what's your reaction to that support?
Love our team. This is a group that continues to just pull together, and I take that as a sign of I must be doing something right from a standpoint that they feel like they got a head coach that they believe in, and I'm really focused on making sure I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that we're prepared to be at our best for Purdue.
David, now that you're within one win of bowl eligibility, is that something you addressed with your team, kind of put it out there as a mission statement this week?
It's something we addressed, Dave, even prior to Wisconsin, as entering the fourth quarter and of the season. And, we've talked about, leaving no doubt, the opportunity for a bowl game is in our hands. And all Wisconsin was a performance that put us one step closer to achieving an opportunity to extend this season. I think that's the ultimate carrot for this team right now, is understand that we only have 2 guaranteed opportunities left to be with this group, and this group wants to battle to ensure that we get an extra opportunity to extend this season. And our guys know what's on the line, and they also understand that the second we start letting our mind drift too far in that direction, we're not focused on just being at our best for Purdue. But no, we've absolutely talked about that. I think this group is very motivated to extend this season, to continue playing with this group.
Coach, you guys in the summer had a pretty negative perception of the program, but now sitting at 500, 5 wins. What would you say the perception of the program is now in your eyes, and how it's grown in the last few months?
Yeah, I don't know what the perception is, but I know what I see every day out of this group, and I've said this before. Sign of true character. Hard times reveals character. And the way that this group has responded to just a lot of things going on, a lot of people that have been affected, in a lot of different ways. This group has found ways to, stare adversity down, take 100% responsibility on being solutions-based, and just getting to work and caring about one another. And, that's, we've talked about this group having an opportunity to write its own story. They've certainly done a great job of that so far.
Coach, you talked about the field hockey program there. Have you had any conversation with Coach Fuchs about helming a Big Ten program, and then do you see any similarities between the two teams?
Tracy's incredible. She's been an incredible supporter of our team, of myself, and I'll be honest with you. Stopped down a few weeks ago, just at the tail end of a game. Yesterday was my first opportunity to really take in, a significant amount of field hockey, and I was just so impressed with their poise. Against a team that they had lost to. Their one loss on the season was against Louisville, and for them to go down late in the game and rally, tie it up, and then take the lead late, I saw a group that battled for one another, that was incredibly resilient, and that certainly embodies a lot of things that we hope to embody, within our football program.
Do you have an update on Coco after you left the game on Saturday?
Not anything other than the fact that he's going to be day to day in terms of his ability to practice. We're hopeful that we'll have Coco back for Saturday. I know he's going to do everything in his power to ensure that he's out there, especially on senior day. But it's going to be, something that we're taking day to day.
Do you expect to see Coco back in the lineup at some point?
Yes, absolutely.
And Coach, just speaking on senior day, how important is it for you to see those guys just out there and spend that time with the family?
Yeah. No, it's what it's all about. I think one of the biggest challenges that we'll face as a team, on senior day is just really using that emotion to channel that into focus and being at our best. The emotion is an indication of how much these guys care. The emotion is an indication of how much they've invested. But we need to do a great job of channeling that emotion to ensure that we're, coming out with just being at our best to ensure that we give ourselves the best chance to celebrate a victory with this group. One more opportunity at Ryan Field. We want to make sure that we send these guys out the right way.
Coach, speaking of Ryan Field, the Evanston City Council tonight votes on a new stadium. There's a good chance that this is the last game at Ryan Field for the foreseeable future. Two-part for you. What is your favorite memory of Ryan Field since you've been here? And also, is there extra motivation to leave the stadium for the last time with a win?
Yeah, to the first part of the question, that evening against Minnesota, I don't know if you're ever going to be. That's a memory that will stick with you the rest of your life if you were there. Just the way that our guys continued to battle and the way that it ended, was really, really special. And I think, really that has been something that this team has drawn from as we've continued to go through the season, just in terms of the belief and the willingness to stay the course as we navigate each and every game. And yeah, there's so much history and tradition in Ryan Field, that it's only fitting that we ensure that we show up and play at our best and send it out the right way. If this is the last game that's going to be played in Ryan Field, the old Ryan Field, I know our guys are motivated to ensure that we do it right the last time.
Have there been any conversations between you and Dr. Gregg since Wisconsin about a contract extension?
There hasn't. What I will say, and I'm very confident in, is that that the people that are involved in that process, it's a critical process, and they're taking the proper steps that they need to take to ensure that the program is led in the right manner moving forward. And I'm going to continue to put my focus in to ensuring that this team's ready to go play at its best against Purdue. Dr. Gregg has been incredibly supportive of, this team throughout this process, and has involved our players in this process, which is something that is a credit to him. And, this is something that, I know is an ongoing process for them that they take very seriously, and I'm going to continue to control the things I can control.
And how often have you and Dr. Gregg had conversations throughout the season, and kind of how has the content and tenor of those conversations changed since you first took the job in a pretty intense time?
Yeah, no, we're in consistent communication. I mean, we're talking weekly, and you know, he's been supportive and been supportive of me. Asked me often what we need from him to make sure that we continue to support our student athletes. And I think the one place that he and I have complete alignment is understanding that we owe everything that we got to ensure that this group of guys has an incredible experience this season.
Coach, a pair of 24-point first-half showings in 2 of your last 3 games. In watching the tape from the Wisconsin game, is there anything that you saw kind of like shift going into the second half, and then how you may look to kind of remedy that against Purdue, carrying that second half or that momentum into the second half?
Yeah, going into the second half, it's something that I know our offensive staff and is evaluating. What do we need to do to start fast in the second half and close out games? Similar to Maryland a little bit, really fast start against Maryland and then came out early on in the second half and sputtered. But some of it you got to credit your opponent. You got to give Wisconsin credit for making some adjustments, some needed adjustments. And, what I will say is even though it didn't show up in points on the board, I was proud of the way our offense stayed the course in the fourth quarter. There were some critical first down conversions that were allowed us not only to eat up clock, but also start to flip the field and really create and start to win the field position battle. But that's a conversation that I know the offense dove into yesterday on ways that they can do a better job starting the second half.
Coach, on it being senior day this Saturday, with your team 1 win away from bowl eligibility, how vital have your seniors and your veteran leaders been to your team's success and your team's to really instilling a culture of your team this season?
Gosh, words won't do it justice. You got to be here to truly understand it. These guys haven't flinched. They haven't flinched, and they've served in their leadership role. It has nothing to do with them as individuals. It has everything to do with the program and the best interest of the team. Leadership council meetings with this group. It's not just our captains. I mean, it's the leadership that permeates throughout the entire program. Some of the leadership that we have, even with older guys, younger guys on our scout teams that aren't even on leadership council, just the way they lead through their actions is just so impressive. But it starts with our captains. It trickles down through our leadership. And, in true Northwestern form, I think you can look at every single young man on this roster and say that guy's a leader, just the way that they carry themselves. And that, again, comes back to credit of the way the captains have set that example.
We had a chance to talk to Ben after the Wisconsin game about the consistency week to week on the offensive side of the ball. He kind of pointed to the tenor practices that you guys have. Is that something you would echo as to correlating with the offensive success? And what would you say a remedy is to being more streamlined every week in that department?
Yeah. The thing that I challenged our group on is we were honest this morning. We have yet to string 2 wins together back to back. What a great challenge moving forward. And what has gotten us to this point is the way that our guys have attacked opportunities with a ton of urgency, a certain level of edge and demeanor of play, and really challenged the group this morning of being relentless in that strain and that effort. Did we do some good things on Saturday? We did. But there's a lot of people that are telling us what now? Oh, you guys are awfully good. No, it's time to go back, stay hungry, stay humble, and get back to work. And I certainly trust that our practice habits will embody that, and we'll continue to push as a coaching staff to make sure that we're putting our guys in the best situations to come out and start fast against Purdue.
Coach, you hired DJ Vokalek and Skip Holtz to kind of ambiguous coaching roles at the start of the season. How would you describe their impact on this team, and how have those roles evolved as the season's gone on?
I think Skip has embodied humility, a guy that walks into this facility with countless years of head coaching experience, and all he's asked along the way is, Dave, how can I help? Dave, how can I help? He's helped through his wisdom, his mentorship, his guidance. He's played a critical role in the way that we've continued to push forward with our recruiting, losing some of our support staff along the way in this transition, just due to the circumstances, has really kind of led the charge with our recruiting department on pushing that forward. game day management and just giving me insight and wisdom on how to handle that. And DJ is a trusted colleague, a trusted friend, someone that came in, with me still calling the defense. There wasn't necessarily a specific position for him to be coaching, but he's helped at all three levels of our defense, has really taken a lot off of my plate. Once we step outside the defensive staff room on, hey, DJ, can you take a look at, second down tendencies through a coordinator's eyes? I mean, he's someone that just on the side, he and I are talking frequently on just keeping me ahead of the game in our game plan process. Both have been incredibly value assets to this football team, and I think they're valued by our student athletes as well. They're just two men that carry themselves with a ton of humility, and are here for all the right reasons.
Coach, you talked last week about how important the tackling circuit was going to be against the Badgers. Only 3 missed tackles this weekend in Madison. What changed? Did any practice plan change, or do you think it was just better execution on the defensive side?
Gosh, it's really easy as a coach to step in on a Tuesday practice and say, oh, here's what we're going to emphasize, and we need to get, I think it is a reflection, again, of our guys making a conscious, intentional effort and a coaching staff really pushing our guys to just get a little bit better each day, just a little bit better each day. And so much of that tackling comes back to playing with good leverage and trusting your help. And I think that's a lot of things that started to show up on film. You go back and watch, us earlier in the season. There was needed an improvement in those areas. And again, we're going to get back out there today, and we're going to be in helmets, and there won't be much contact. But we are going to emphasize the heck out of playing with great leverage and great knee bend and trust in our help. And if we can continue to do that, we certainly expect to see good things popping up on film on Saturdays.
Coach, you talked about the offense moving forward, and now you face a Purdue defense that has given up the most points in the Big Ten this season. Of course, stats aren't everything, but does that play into the offense's mindset or discussion at all?
I honestly, I think they've done a great job, offensively of just identifying, okay, this is how the defense that we're approaching is structured. Within our structure offensively, how can we attack that? And I think there's looking through the same lens. Where's Purdue at personnel wise? How are they structured within our system? How can we attack that? And it's really easy to get a quick snapshot of an opponent through stats, but then you got to go look at the film and really see where it fits into the game plan. And already, as we're diving into game plan this week, you see and hear those conversations starting to ramp up on the offensive side of the ball.
Just to follow that up, you just talked about their game with Minnesota, and talking about film, how much do you look at you all's game against Minnesota, their game against Minnesota, and kind of just mindset-wise?
There's perspective. I think we're the strongest, carryover is specifically for us on defense is the fact that our structure defensively and Minnesota's structure defensively, both 4-down structure, 2 high shells, you got to take a really strong look at that and understand the way that they're attacking Minnesota is certainly gonna pop up in some of the ways that they try and attack us.
So starting back in January, from about 10,000 feet, the one area probably needed the most improvement was the defensive line in defending the run. Yet this defensive line, I see 8 to 10 bodies that are constantly rotating, and if anything, that room is probably have the deepest improvement. And why is that?
A lot of reasons, a lot of hard work, a lot of humility. For you to rotate like that, it takes a bunch of guys that are there to serve the best interest of the team, not their own personal stat line. A credit to Christian Smith and the job that he's done with that group. A credit to the leadership in the room. The Sean McLaughlins of the world, the Jalen Pates, the guys that have been here for a while. A credit to, we brought in some transfers, we brought in some freshmen, but I've joked in this room before, the 2 best recruits that we got were already in these seats. Carmine Bastone and PJ Spencer were walk-ons that are now on scholarship and battling their tails off. I mean, the level of play out of those guys right now is incredible. It's awesome, but it's a credit to the group as a whole. It starts with Coach Smith and the leadership in that room, but I'd take that group up against any O-line in the country. I really would. And it may not be the measurables, but the way that they're going to fight and scratch and claw and do whatever it takes to help our team win is something that I'm really appreciative of.
Coach, you got Ray Nairo back from injury a few weeks ago. How important has having him back and then also AJ's success in that type of like speedster slot role as well as special teams been?
He's such an asset. On special teams, on offense, provides you depth, and just someone else that the defense has to be concerned with. But Ray's a guy that you love to get the ball in his hands, and I'm so happy for him coming off that injury and back at it with his guys. No better way to close out these last guaranteed opportunities than have Ray Nairo running down on kickoff and getting the ball in his hands on offense. Really happy for that young man.
Which, what role would you say you played in the new Ryan Field, though, with that happening tonight? Have you had active conversations and its structure and its design or anything like that, or are you taking a more passive approach being here just in January?
Yeah, no, I'm just worried about getting our team ready. What I will say is what an incredible opportunity for this football program, this athletic department, this university moving forward. The commitment from the Ryan family to make this happen is really, really special. And we talk about student-athlete experience. I've mentioned it before, but to have an opportunity to have a first-class stadium on campus in the Big Ten moving forward in a new and evolving Big Ten is something that's really exciting for the student-athlete experience moving forward.
Coach, you kind of talked about that defensive line rotation. It was another game with 9 guys over 20 snaps. Is that something that you come into the game with a preset plan of knowing these guys are going to get X, or is that more of a rhythm and feel type of thing?
There's definitely a plan that all those guys are going to play, and there's going to be a rotation. They're not on a snap count by any means, but Christian does a great job of really laying that out and prioritizing, especially with situational football, and especially, as you know, Matt, against those tempo operations. It's so critical to be able to keep those guys fresh. And again, it's a credit to the depth that exists in that room right now that we have the luxury of doing that.
Coach, last year this team was minus 18 in the turnover margin. This year plus 5. What has been the biggest difference, even just since you got here in January, about either in practice with protecting the football or being able to force takeaways this year?
The credit to the offense and credit to our players on the offense side of the ball of taking it really seriously. Our staff's done a great job with the ball security circuit. It's been something that's been emphasized, and I know for a fact it was being emphasized prior to my arrival. Unfortunately, last season that was a struggle, but that is a credit to our student athletes of addressing it moving forward, not only within their practice habits but their actions on Saturdays. And Coach Hicks, our corners coach, does an incredible job with our ball disruption circuit that we work throughout fall camp. Rod Hurd, that is something that you saw Rod and every single member of our defense work every single day of fall camp, that technique that he utilized. And every Thursday pre-practice, it's utilized again. It's so awesome. Anytime you start to see drill carry over into games tangibly, it's really exciting as a teacher and a coach. And, big-time play by Rod.
A couple more, Ted, then Lawrence.
Coach, I know the game's always evolving and changing. Can you please explain the fiasco with substitution where you had to come on and call a timeout? Because Wisconsin was going back and forth with defensive linemen, and then all of a sudden you had to snap the ball with 4 seconds.
Yeah.
How does that rule work?
No, great question. With the tempo of play that offenses have been playing with, especially in the last 10 years, the thing that they've put into place and have protected defenses with it. When offensive team subs, the defense is going to have an opportunity to sub as well. And where defenses are starting to take advantage of that rule is if an offense substitutes relatively late, they are going to take as much time as they possibly can to essentially and force a delay a game. What the officials have told us is that if the offense subs inside of 20 seconds left on the play clock, they are at risk for having that issue. And a credit to Wisconsin and their strategy and their tactics. They definitely dressed that up, and I think that was a little bit more of a strategic back and forth than an actual confusion out of their sideline. And credit to them, they used the rule to their advantage.
Coach, going back to the defensive line rotations, was or what was the plan going into the season with that rotations, and even how has the season's continuation played into you all's hand of just like now we got the rotation, the guys are getting reps, feeling more comfortable?
It was absolutely part of the plan. Were we as comfortable with the plan in week 1 or, week 2 of fall camp? Absolutely not. But, an intentional effort by our staff, which wasn't easy. We only had 103 when most of, the Big Ten had 120 in camp. But we made the conscious decision to double rep during fall camp. And that was, the reason we did that, and split up into 2 fields and split our coaching staff. So we wanted to make sure that Michael Kilbane got as many snaps, not just in Indy, in actual football as possible. And through that, there was mistakes made, but through those mistakes, there's growth. And I think you're starting to see, some of those opportunities in fall camp and continued growth throughout the course of the season in developmental Indy on Thursday, really starting to pay off in the depth that's showing up in that D-line room and in other areas of our team as well.
2 more, Jake, then David.
Coach, in all 3 of your conference victories this season, you guys have been underdogs, and obviously there's motivation that comes with that. But with you guys likely emerging as favorites in Saturday's game against Purdue, how do you guys stay internally motivated to go out and get that victory?
We're gonna stick to the same thing that we've stuck to. We not once have we talked about or used external, views on this team as motivation. Not once. Bulletin board material. No, we're good. Not once have I talked about being favorites or underdogs. We've just talked about continuing to battle our tails off for the people that are on this team and people that are in this building, and we need to ensure that we stay true to that. And we stay true to that, we'll give ourselves a chance on Saturday.
Last one, Dave.
Coach, with this being the last home game of the season, no matter whether or not Ryan Field is standing in a few weeks, what's your message to Cats fans for senior day and probably for this last game here in Ryan Field for a while?
Do everything you can to get to Ryan Field. This group of young men is an awfully special group. If you haven't had a chance to see them play live yet this season, I promise you, you're gonna be proud of the way that they play. And let's make sure we send off the old Ryan Field the right way.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks everyone.